spirit of the holiday, I want to share with you something that I have been struggling with, or I want to say I had been struggling with it. Well, since being here in Spain, I've realized that I only enjoy the milestones and the accomplishments in my life for a short period of time, and then it fades. And I was always curious as to why. So I've been doing some introspection, and as a result, I've put it all down in my journal, and I think I want to share it with you in this video, especially since the holiday is upon us, Christmas Day is upon us. I'll be celebrating Christmas without Derek for the first time in years now, and it's the night before I leave for Barcelona. So I really think that there are people who experience this too, and people who might be struggling with this, and maybe you don't know what it is, and because you don't know what it is, you don't know what to do about it. If not, if you don't have this problem, then that's fine, I suppose, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, and I'm going to read to you what I wrote. And when I wrote it, I think I wrote it with you in mind. What is it about, you ask? I'm sure you've seen the title, but I'm going to tell you anyway. It's about the inability to live in the present moment. And this video is inspired by Eckhart Tolle and his remarkable book, The Power of Now. So here goes. I was 12 years old when I told my 7th grade Spanish teacher that Barcelona would be the first place in the world that I'd travel to. You see, I've always had a wild and colorful, ambitious imagination ever since I was small. I thought that things that I had hoped for my future were very important, and I think I always kind of knew that there was power in the mere conception of a thought or idea. And it was also at 12 years old that I had announced to my 7th grade class again, always announcing things. And if there are any of you watching this who was in my grade 7 class, I think it's possible that you'll be able to confirm this. If your memory serves you correctly, I had announced to them that I'd become a fashion designer. And at the time, of course, I had no real evidence that these things I was speaking over my life would all come to pass, right? It was Florence Scovel, author of The Game of Life and How to Play It, who said, open quote, "A person knowing the power of the word becomes very careful of his conversation. Man has the potential to create laws for himself through the spoken word." End quote. So as I grew older and had the privilege of acquiring wisdom, I learned that I had been contributing to the creation and evolution of my future through speaking to the life I wanted to become my reality. I grew deliberate with my thoughts and my ideas and my word. At 24 years old, I visited Barcelona for the first time with my husband Derek. I also did a video on it some time ago, and we went there for our honeymoon. So dream come true, right? And also, it still blows my mind that I was wearing the clothes that I had designed and made myself. Even saying this, and as much as I've made so many clothes for myself and others, I think I still don't understand fully the degree to which this is profound. To have simply said something, put it out there. Well, first, for it to have been a thought, you put it into words, and for it to manifest. It's such a big deal, and I've borne witness to that so many times, especially in this particular case. Like, it's simple, but it's also not very simple. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So anyways, it still doesn't seem real that these particular experiences started out as a dream for what I thought would be the ideal future. My dreams became true, and While it pleased me to have witnessed their manifestation, I don't think I can say that I was able to completely or presently enjoy the moments as they occurred. You see, I had developed a habit of dreaming of and planning towards a better future, that when the future arrived as the present moment, I didn't know what to do with it or how to appropriately respond to it. It was always about the next moment and then the next. I've always known that this issue of not knowing how to find intrinsic value in the now existed. But author and spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle articulated this behavior perfectly in his book, The Power of the Now. The feeling of dissatisfaction while experiencing a dream come true was first encountered during my honeymoon in Barcelona. I was in the place I said I would be when I was 12 years old, yet it still was not enough. I was there, but I wasn't really there. And I was having the time of my life, don't get me wrong, with the love of my life. But I was there, and now what? It's an interesting thing to experience. Fast forward to 2020, I announced to Derek that I'd like to pursue moving to Spain, for that too had been a lifelong dream of mine. Now, this was the first time I've ever thought so hard for a dream to become realized. Even while facing disappointments and the possibility that life in Spain might not happen after all, I was showering to Spanish music, making friends who were living in Spain, and even joining Facebook groups for people who live in Spain while living in Jamaica. I was basically living in the future that I wanted, and I got it. I got the future. November 2021, as a lot of you know, since I have a video on it, marked the start of my new life in Zaragoza, Spain. I was no longer hoping to visit Spain, no longer visiting Spain. I lived here. I live here. I live here now. I live here. But as excited as I was, what happened was that this familiar feeling suddenly returned. So I started to feel this restlessness and this dissatisfaction. But my dream just come true. I'm there now. This is what I've wanted for so long. This is what I've prayed about and worked so hard for. So what's wrong with me, right? I started to read The Power of Now. And while reading it, I started to say, but wait, this look like what I always go through. This sounds familiar. And he was just wording it so perfectly. I couldn't believe that someone had written out these exact things that I've been going through. I just was not able to put it together so well. What happened? I'm sure you want to know by now. So what I realized through the book is that I had developed a habit of hoping and waiting for the next big thing and using the present time, the now, as a means to an end. I was using it as a means to getting somewhere more important, as a means to getting to my future. Except the future never came. And the future never came because the future does not exist except in our minds. The reason why the future does not exist is because when the future comes, it comes as the present moment. We're always in the present moment. I know this is it's possibly a little deep and it might sound airy-fairy, but consider reading the book if it interests you, and it might bring a lot more understanding, because I'm just touching on the surface here. And so after years of designing my future, or trying, because God's already in charge, right? I created a habit of overlooking life in the now. I became used to mentally existing somewhere else, that when that mental image became actualized, I was not completely satisfied. I've achieved a lifelong dream of living here but I immediately began planning the next chapter. You know what I mean? And that seemed insane to me. I'm here, but I'm already thinking about the next move, the next place, the next strategy, rather than appreciating what is right now. I kept waiting for this grand thing to happen so that I could finally start my life and start living. Now it's here, and I no longer need to fall asleep to images of Spain. I can experience it fully because I'm here. Now I know so far you're probably listening and you're saying, well, it's okay to strategize and it's okay to plan. Yeah, it's 100% okay to want something different and better. You know, want better for yourself, for your life. Who doesn't want to improve? I think that is natural to human beings, to keep building on what it is that we have now. But Eckhart Tolle warns us that this desire becomes a habit so deeply ingrained that even when things get better, we're waiting for something else. And that was the place that I had found myself to be in yet again. But I have good news, because I'm no longer choosing to live my life in the future. Today, I give my fullest attention to this moment, talking to you, holding this glass of wine, touching my face. The so-called future is much more likely to improve that way. I no longer try to get away from the present. I surrender to it. So in essence, the present moment is all we'll ever have. And there will never be a time when your life is not this moment. This moment in particular, where you are watching me. You are spending time to watch this video, you know. By the way, if you've made it this far, just put present moment down in the comment section. I feel like now I know what being alive is, what truly living is. And speaking of is, being alive is about acknowledging the isness that is now. It's a little deep. It's actually the words of Eckhart Tolle. Living in the isness of the now. Absolutely nothing is more important than this moment. It might seem like, why my future this and my future that, and next year and next year this and next year that. I have to reiterate, it's wonderful to plan, but there needs to be a balance. I have to unlearn first the habit of living somewhere else as opposed to being here. And so now when I walk, I acknowledge the ground. I acknowledge its presence that offers me passage. I acknowledge the people who are sharing this exact moment with me, taking this breath. We're all taking this breath together. And suddenly the world just seems much brighter, and it seems like a much better place to be, because I'm experiencing what is before me, and there is nothing like it, nothing like this exact second. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have made this video in this very moment. I'm filled with joy and contentment, and that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your encouragement, support so far. I honestly just wish you love and peace, goodwill. I wish you kindness, everything that is good. Truly, we really need it. And I know it's what we want to receive. It feels good to receive it, doesn't it? To receive love and kindness. But I also want to challenge anyone watching this video to do the best that you possibly can to give it. That feels good too. I've learned that for myself. I love you once again. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Take care. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and to subscribe. Help me to grow this channel. Bye.